semuanya, kenalin nama aku Aisyah. Aku seorang mahasiswi semester 5 jurusan Bahasa dan Sastra Inggris di Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia. Salam kenal semuanya. Nah, di video kali ini aku bakalan sharing sedikit pengalaman aku sebagai seorang mahasiswi jurusan Sastra Inggris di Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia. Kira-kira apa aja ya yang aku pelajarin, dan mungkin aku juga akan menjawab pertanyaan kira-kira benar nggak sih kita itu harus jago bahasa Inggris dulu buat milih jurusan sastra Inggris? Menurut teman-teman sendiri gimana? Jawabannya tentu aja enggak ya teman-teman. Kita nggak diwajibkan untuk jago dulu nih bahasa Inggris baru kita bisa keterima di jurusan sastra Inggris. Karena nantinya dari semester 1 sampai semester 5 pun kita diwajibkan untuk mengambil mata kuliah skill atau kemampuan dalam berbahasa Inggris yang sifatnya itu bertingkat, berjenjang. Jadi ada tingkatannya dari introduction terus sampai naik ke tingkat spesifik, yang lebih spesifik lagi gitu. Ada 4 mata kuliah skill wajib yang perlu kita ambil. Itu ada speaking, listening, reading, sama writing. Dan itu sangat membantu kita dalam mengasah kemampuan kita dalam berbahasa Inggris. Nantinya juga bakal ada beberapa mata kuliah lain yang membantu juga untuk kita melatih bahasa Inggrisan kita gitu. Contohnya ada sentence structure, ada pelajaran grammar, dan lain-lainnya kayak gitu. Jadi selama teman-teman punya ketertarikan, mempunyai minat di jurusan ini, kita bisa aja jalanin belajar bahasa Inggris sambil jalanin jurusan ini gitu. Nah, di UPI sendiri sastra Inggris nantinya bakal dipecah menjadi 2 fokus, yaitu ada literature sama linguistics. Kalau literature lebih fokus ke karya-karya sastra bahasa Inggris, sedangkan linguistics lebih berfokus ke ilmu kebahasaannya. Jadi nanti teman-teman bisa pilih nih mana yang lebih sesuai dengan minat kalian. Nanti dari semester awal, semester 1 sampai semester 3, teman-teman bakalan dapat semua mata kuliah di baik di linguistics maupun tentang literature. Nantinya teman-teman bakal milih nih, kira-kira minat teman-teman lebih ke literature kah atau ke linguistics gitu teman-teman. Kalian bisa milih nantinya di semester 4 atau semester 5. Nah, setelah ini aku bakal nampilin video singkat materi mengenai speech act, yaitu salah satu materi di lingkup linguistics. Ini fokus yang aku ambil untuk mata kuliah research methodology karena aku memiliki minat tentang ilmu kebahasaan bahasa Inggris, dan aku minat ke salah satu materi speech act ini. Semoga bisa bermanfaat buat teman-teman semua ya. Tolong disimak. Hello everyone, how is your day? I hope it is going well. So first, let me introduce myself. I am Aisyah Lautri, and on this occasion, I would like to present about one of pragmatics materials. It is speech act. First thing first, I will define what the speech act and why it is important for us to know about it. After that, I will classify the types and the categories of speech act with its example. Before we start, here is a quote by John Searle. It is the problem posed by indirect speech acts is the problem of how it is possible for the speaker to say one thing and mean that, but also mean something else. So in my opinion, this quote show us how important to understand speech acts in communication, so there will be no misunderstandings and no misinterpretations. So what is speech act? Speech act is a part of pragmatics where there are certain aims beyond the words and phrases when a speaker says something. So speech act is a study of how the speakers and listeners use language. It is an action in verbal communication that has a message in itself. So the communication is not only about language but also with action. Next, types of speech acts. There are 3 types. First, locutionary. It is roughly equivalent to uttering certain utterance with certain sense and reference which has meaning in traditional use. It is the act of producing meaningful utterances. Second, the illocutionary speech act. It is performed via the communicative force of an utterance, such as promising, apologizing, and offering. This act is also called the act of doing something in saying something. And the last one is perlocutionary speech act. It is the act that is carried out by a speaker when making an utterance. It refers to the effect that the utterance has on the thoughts or action of the other person. Here is an example. Locutionary speech act occur when the speaker saying, "I'm thirsty." It is indicating that the speaker is thirsty. And then, as the illocutionary speech act, the speaker has intention meaning by saying, "Can you pass me the water beside you?" to the listener. Then, as the perlocutionary, the listener responds by handing the glass of water and saying, "Sure, here it is." Next, after the types of speech act, here is a classification of speech acts. There are 5 classifications. First, representatives. It is speech act that the utterances are produced based on the speaker's observation by stating facts or opinion. For example, President Duterte has signed an executive order on FOI. Or another example, when the speaker said the earth is flat, that's also counted as representative speech acts. Second, directive. It is speech act that speaker used to get someone else to do something. For example, as we can see in the picture, "Can you pass me the water beside you?" The third category is commissives. It is speech acts that the utterances commit the speaker to some future action. For example, "I'm going to study for tomorrow's test," and then "I'll be back," something like that. And then there is the declaration speech acts. It is speech acts that the utterances affect immediate changes in the real world. For example, as we can see in the picture, when the boss saying "you are fired" to her employee, it does change the employee's life, right? Next, the last one, it is expressive speech acts. So it is a speech act that the utterances express a psychological state. It includes when you are thanking, apologizing, welcoming, or congratulating. For example, as we can see in the picture, she said, "I'm sorry that I lied to you." She is apologizing and feeling sorry. In conclusion, the ability to understand the hidden message of utterance is really important to have. Some words or utterances could be misdirected into something unpleasant if we are not careful. By understanding pragmatics and speech acts, we can get a clearer understanding of the utterances when we do communicate with others. So that's all from me. Thank you.